everyone, welcome back. So yeah, we're gonna keep going with our discussion here. We'll go into more story beat kind of impressions, somewhat in order, but I'm sure we'll jump around as things pop in our head, and then we'll talk ending and spoilers later. So this was, like I mentioned at the beginning, like we were just sort of like half taking notes as we were playing through it. So there was just some stuff that I wrote down that I was like, oh, I want to talk about, just mention this part or whatever. And we'll just kind of bounce off that. Starting in like because I replayed the Nibelheim part, right?
Yeah.
And man, one thing I like didn't fully, maybe I noticed, but maybe didn't quite appreciate in the demo playthrough of it is like they really deliberately make like the way Tifa's performance is like she never once like acknowledges you as Cloud, right?
Yeah. No, exactly.
Until the end when you're carrying her, because spoiler for OG,
He
like
did.
that's when
Yeah.
he sort of like takes his helmet off and like she actually sees him there, right?
Yeah.
But
No,
then
yeah, it is really well done in that way. Like she, at no point she's just like, oh, hey, Cloud, childhood friend, kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even there's like when he's like when she shows up as the guide, he's like, oh, Tifa, like you're our guide, and he's like,
Yeah.
she's like, yep, I'm the best one around or whatever, and it's just like doesn't really like even acknowledge him. And it's just like I noticed that more on that second playthrough, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I feel like we talked about that like way back before we were even doing the podcast, like when we were doing our post-mortem just phone call about remake,
Yeah.
where the playing the subtlety of like Tifa's subtle performance of like not knowing Cloud or like being concerned about what Cloud,
Yeah.
and that was the thing that is like, yeah, they did a very deliberate job at like making sure if you rewatch that and you just assume that it's not Cloud there, it makes
Yeah.
sense the way that
Oh,
they're interacting with each other, right? So yeah, I love that point. And one thing I still don't understand exactly the significance of it, but it's definitely just some form of Sephiroth fucking with Cloud. Um, his mom says the line, "You have to leave, you have to live,"
yeah.
and that's like what Sephiroth says when he's in like the burning alley vision at the very beginning of remake.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
says that
Right.
exact quote, and it's like, is he just is it? And it's like he does it when he's in the vision where he's like in the fiery.
Fire. Yeah.
So it's like I think that's just like him like
Trolling.
really fucking with Cloud.
Like, seriously? Fuck off, man. Like he just like, haha, your mom died. And it was
Yeah,
like this, hilarious, right?
yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with you?
I think that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Um,
I have a note when Claudia says that. I didn't kind of track it in my demo playthrough, but
yeah,
then
same.
playing the game, I had to pause it for a second. I was like, why does that sound familiar?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then it clicked that like Sephiroth had said that in the uh flash or
The
what's the
vision
word I'm
or
looking for?
whatever.
Yeah, the mirage, whatever, in the like first chat or second chapter or whatever. Click, and then it was like, oh, that's super sad. And then like started to cry. I was just like, fuck you, man. That's ridiculous. So yeah, I tracked that as well, and I was like,
Cool.
jeez. That's why I was just like, this game's fucking dark.
Yeah.
Like this game, you know, Sephiroth is pure evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was just like, oh, because Claudia's just like a treasure.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, yeah,
That talk about a character that like I didn't really care about at all in like OG, because like she has like one scene
yeah,
essentially with him, like but like yeah, just taking the extra time to like make that very brief side character like really
yeah.
likable. Um Also,
And,
let's love that her name's Claudia or whatever. Like
yeah,
that's cute. Yeah.
yeah. And
Um
then she's being like super mom. She's just
yeah.
like, and another thing, and all these like, and he's just like, okay, mom, like
Yeah.
relax. It's
And
just being,
it's funny because like they definitely did that exact thing, but
oh,
just like with
montage.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah,
it's just so well crafted. So anyway, yeah, that quote, I was like, holy shit, I didn't notice that the first time in the demo. Um,
Um, quick question. Uh does Sephiroth know like ultimately that like Hojo is his like does he ever find out that Hojo is his father or like because when um he's like, oh, I don't have a hometown, I'd never know. And then he's like, what? Well, you've got parents, right? He's like, oh, my mother died before I was born, or died shortly after I was born. And it's like, and then my father, and then that's when Barrett kind of interrupts the flashback. So yeah, I don't know what he's been told. Do you know? Do you?
I don't remember. Was it Hojo though? I thought it was like who's Professor Gast? I don't remember if that's Hojo's father or like his the person
Is
he like succeeded or like
is
hit.
it? I think Gast is Aerith's father,
Uh,
right? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
That's like lore from OG only at this point, so
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think Professor Gast and Ifalna were in love, and I think they had Aerith, and then uh like Vincent and Lucretia were an item.
I knew. Yeah, I
Um,
remember that.
and then Hojo and Lucretia is Lucretia who he put the Genova cells in, and then so it's Hojo and Lucretia that are Sephiroth's biological parents.
I
Anyway,
honestly don't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Um,
I have to replay OG to like kind of absorb that info again because I definitely don't remember.
anyway, they kind of
Uh,
cut away purposefully, and I was like, oh, what's Sephiroth's interpretation of who his
sure, yeah.
parents are? Yeah, yeah.
Maybe they're saving that for
Mm.
a big part 3 reveal or whatever. Probably, yeah.
Anyway, keep going. But
Okay,
yeah, um, I just I loved the intro. Like Tifa's adorable. Like I love cowgirl Tifa.
yeah,
And she's so sassy. She's just like there's so many looks to camera, hands on her hips and kind
yeah.
of leaned over, and it's just like, my God, you're hilarious.
And
And
it's like also a bit of a moment of like the upgrade of just like from a gameplay development
mm,
standpoint, just like how much more like expressive they are in cutscenes. I feel like it's
yeah,
like a step above remake, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I feel like that flashback is a good showcase for just, and that's where like some of that more subtle performance comes in, especially in Cloud when he's, you know, kind of doing Zack's
Zach.
mannerisms a little more. It's like I feel like they can show that even more clearly just with better, you know
Yeah,
better tech at this point.
and
Yeah, so
even in like I love like the picture. Cloud not only looks younger, he's just like very much Zack posture,
yeah.
and yeah,
Oh yeah, so much
yeah.
to unpack in those if you know the story.
And but yeah, like I've said it 1,000 times, but I just still can't get over it. And even on hard mode, it doesn't quite do the same. It doesn't kind of roll the credits, quote unquote, but just
Oh
that
yeah,
that track that goes, it's oh, okay, compose yourself here. It's like it doesn't sound like it is, but then it turns into the main theme,
yeah.
kind of as the mountains come up,
In a
kind of
really
thing.
like triumphant sort of way.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
really like, yeah, we're going on Mr. Frodo, we're going on an adventure or whatever, right?
No, that's 100% it. Like in hindsight, and just like that track is just like, I hope you're ready for like it's so grandiose of
Yeah,
a,
that's the word. Yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, this game is enormous. So like,
yeah,
get ready. Anyway,
yeah.
oh, so well done. Um,
Um,
yeah.
so moving on from the flashback, because we did talk about that a lot,
Hmm.
about a lot of details about that when we did the demo. So one of the music points I wanted to make was the first time in like the grasslands area when you find a life spring map point.
so glad you're saying that's good.
The music there is like the same as like that little planetary thing in
Yeah.
Cosmo Canyon in Bugenhagen's place. And I love that track. Like it's
Oh,
just always been such a great track just in general. Like I've always that one always just gets me. And I literally started crying
yeah,
when I found the first Life Spring and it played that music and it's such a beautiful version of a new version of that.
yeah.
And I was just like, fuck. It's like I think at that point I was like, it's gonna be more than 7 times.
I know. Uh, I won't repeat kind of what you said, but same. Like I just I was like, oh, just like
When you
over.
realize what the song is, and yeah,
It's a perfect version of it. That hit me really hard. That was my
yep,
first like big cry, and I
yeah,
was just like, "What's
same,
wrong with me?" Like it's just music.
yep,
And often I would often stop playing at a LifeSpring spot, because just it was so relaxing, and I was like, "Okay, I'm so happy. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm just this is where I should
oh, like that
stop."
would be your sign off point,
Yeah,
essentially. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then and I just love, the situation I described earlier of like early in the morning, sitting down my coffee, putting it on, booting it up, and
Starting
it's
with that.
that. And I was like, oh my God, I love this game. It was such like anyway, almost like a um Pavlovian kind of response to it kind of thing. So
Sure.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
That track is one of my favorites in like the whole game. It's
yeah.
so
I don't even know what it
ethereal and
is. Like, it's not
yeah.
a very elaborate song, but it's just I don't know. It just gets me every time. And yeah,
Oh,
that when it hit that in that life spring, I broke down for sure.
yeah,
Maybe it
no.
was from the lack of sleep too, but whatever. Because it was
Whatever.
4 in the
Yeah,
morning at this point, but
yeah,
whatever. Um, on the topic of music, when you go past Calm to like the other side where it's all the
yeah,
desert area, it's
yeah.
playing that like version of the it's something Prophet.
Oh,
I forget the name of the song, but it's the
yeah.
literally like end credit song
Yep,
of Remake, and it's like the melody of Sector 5 slums, like
yep,
around
yep.
Eris. And
And
you
I
get a
like
version
that.
of that when you're just running the world, and then a battle version
Battle
of that.
version. Yeah,
I was just
yeah,
like, oh fuck.
yeah.
Just like not expecting that at all. And that really like it's just like one of those gaming moments where I'm just like, I fucking love video games because
Yeah,
I just was not expecting to hear that song, honestly. Like it I don't know
yeah.
why. I just thought that was the main theme of the last game.
Remake.
So yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
I
I
I
was
I love the Sector 5 version of that theme.
yeah.
And yeah, same thing. Battle version of this because you also get if you go on kind of the road in the Junon area, you get like a more like there's a version of that hollow track if you walk like a bit on the highway road part
Okay.
in near
In
Junon. So it might
Junon
be
or in the grasslands?
Junon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't
but
remember
it
that.
might be the same actually. But anyway, I
Still,
can't remember. Yeah,
just
still
that
awesome.
hearing that track come up in another version plus a
Yeah,
battle version was
yeah.
just like, fuck, this game is insane.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the music budget on this game alone is ridiculous.
Oh,
How
uh,
many Chocobo race themes was there? Like at
hey,
least 9? Like
that's a good question. Yeah, which is your favorite Chocobo theme?
I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a very pop sounding where it's like some female vocalist sort of like
Yeah,
almost like jazz singing the
yeah,
melody. And I was like, every time that one came on, I was like, volume up. I
yeah.
was like, I love that version.
I like that one. There was one that was very kind of Pulp Fiction,
Yeah, yeah.
surf guitar kind
Kind
of.
of reminded me of like one of the versions
What?
in the old
Agreed. Yeah,
game. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
surf, the wipeout sounding surf
Yeah,
guitar
yeah,
kind of.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
God, yeah. The music budget alone was just
Oh,
insane.
like when I saw like Square Enix emails like, oh, you can get the soundtrack on vinyl, whatever. Like, is it 20 like discs? Like, what the hell? Like this soundtrack is going to be
So
insane.
it comes out next week. I'm hoping it comes out on streaming platforms at the same time. I feel like Remake did that. I don't think they did physical only for a time before
I
adding it to streaming.
I remember it took a long time to get it on Spotify. I feel like I had to
Maybe
like
maybe it was
download
longer
it.
then.
Anyway, I don't. We'll see if I can wait because I definitely want a copy of that
So
somehow.
good.
Yeah.
Um, the very early on into the grasslands, I fucking fell in love with Mai, and
Oh yeah.
especially like her and Chadley's like banter, like very
Yeah.
sibling kind of banter. Um, I know there's some people out there that like were are like annoyed about how much dialogue Chadley has, but like I honestly it never bothered me because I found
No.
especially the two of them talking, like Mai is just like why am I just like why is this AI so fucking adorable the way she
Eh,
talks to you, like
Yeah.
and then the way they like bicker at each other, like a couple times he just mutes her.
Yeah.
He
Um.
just turns her volume down.
And
It's so
um.
funny.
I wondered like at what point like for one of the battles whatever like when Mai kind of like opens up and like oh hey this uh
Tells you
more
about them and
more powerful version of a monster you're about to fight. Blah blah blah. It's like, at what point am I gonna just like
ignore it. And
ignore it and just start fighting? And it's like, nope. The whole game, I was like, I'm gonna listen
I
to your
sat
entire
and
breakdown.
I
Yeah.
sat and listened to everyone. One thing I did find is if you have to go and retry them to do
Mm,
like the objectives, you can, and this is how smart they are with just like thinking of this stuff.
yeah.
You can set it to not for her to not give you explanations on a retry.
Oh,
So
okay.
you'll get
Yeah.
it the first time, but if you retry the fight to try to do the objectives, it won't do it every time you do,
Gotcha.
because that would get annoying if I had to hear the same thing while I'm fighting every time.
Oh, and I just like
Um,
ignored her. I was like, whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But
it's
fair. No, that's
literally
a
a
good setting.
setting where it's like on the retry it won't repeat it.
I should set
Um,
that. But cool.
um, so yeah, that was really good. Fucking Queen's Blood. God damn, that game is so much fun.
Oh man, I was worried because I was just like, oh, is this going to be like too hard or like
Yeah,
but no, I
is it
any
gonna be a
like
chore?
yeah, exactly. And that
Yeah.
was that's what I was worried about. And like, no, I loved when I was like, sweet, new Queensblood players
Yeah.
here. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is actually really funny. I uh so I had to go to a conference midway through my
Oh yeah.
playthrough.
Yeah.
And I think I told you I was just like I'm like low-key anxiety, separation anxiety. I got to go to a conference and I don't want to leave this game. And I don't like the idea of like traveling with a PS5 controller and like remote playing on my phone for this game. I was like, that's not gonna work. And
Nah.
even on an iPad or something like that. But what I did, so I was like, no, bring a controller, especially like my do I bring the busted one or my new one and not
Yeah, yeah.
and have that break in my suitcase. But I just like I would connect this anyway. I connect to it like every day just because I was in like and so the chorale music kind of the overworld there reminds me of like being in New Orleans for that conference because I just like connect to it and it's like okay, it's still there. It's just waiting for me when I go home. And I just listen to like move around a little bit, like okay, I played it, I'm good. But I was at a section where I could play some Queen's Blood. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I could do that on my phone.
Yeah.
That's easy. And I like blasted through a few like hard Queen's Blood rounds just while I was away at this conference when I had some free time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but this is great.
Got
This is
your
perfect.
fix.
Yeah, I got my, and it's like, and then I came back and didn't need to go through a bunch of Queen's Blood stuff. I could just get right into the game. So anyway,
Yeah.
that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
The just another example of the game knows when to be silly. The like dramatic zoom you get when you're like challenged. It's so funny. I loved it so
Oh,
much.
my buddy Graham he's playing it too, and then he's just like, oh yeah, I laughed pretty hard when he just got to Nibelheim, and it's like, oh sweet, here's this guy who's like, tripped out on Genova cells. Want to play some Queen's Blood? And it's just like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, it's
oh
so
man,
good.
so good.
Um, and then speaking of Queen's Blood, I mean, like the general, like basic Queen's Blood music is so. I was humming that like all the time when I wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like when you do the Queen's Blood tournament, like the last game of the tournament was like this epic song that only exists in this tournament. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember this music. I just had to stop. Like, what am I listening to? This is fucking insane. Like,
Oh man.
so like that was just so cool for this side thing. Like they made this epic song for like the Queen's Blood tournament finale or whatever.
I
Um,
I struggled with Regina for a while on the
on
ship
the
in that
tournament,
tournament.
yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, "There's no way I can't do like." At one point, I was wondering, is it impossible to beat her? Like, is it
sure,
a story beat that you
sure.
can't? And then I was like, I was close. I was like, I think I could do this. So that was probably like an hour of just like, nope, try again, try
Yeah.
again, try again.
Yeah, I
And I
like that
think,
you could just retry and it's not like no penalty or like it just counts. That's
yeah,
because like otherwise you just be reloading a save every time. So the game they're like, no, just let them retry.
just let them
Like,
do it. Yeah,
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 yeah. Sorry, sidebar. One thing that I think I'd like to see fixed in a patch, let's say, is if you're in a simulator and it's like, okay, I clearly don't have the right build to do this. I wish you could like do that in like the retry screen
sure, yeah,
instead of like, oh, Chadley, da 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 da.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
combat simulator again. That I find annoying.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also, it's really funny to me that the longest load times in the game are
yeah,
in the combat simulator.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
wait, you can load. I could fast travel from Calm to
yeah.
Cosmo Canyon in like half a
Um,
second.
yeah.
Something's blocking your camera.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It just came down. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, the combat simulator going between rounds in the same environment is like 10-second load. I'm like, what? so,
Oh,
so it
I
must be
remember.
some weird. Sorry, it must have been some weird like just optimization like thing they had to do to make something else run better, and it's got to be some weird glitchy thing like that. But it's just funny that that's the
That's
biggest
the
load
load.
time.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because I remember being like fast travel. Oh yeah, I'm in Gungaga and I want to go back to Corel. Hit fast travel. Go to take a drink of my
Yeah,
coffee. Oh
no,
shit.
it's
Oh,
ready.
okay. I guess for instance, it's ready.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so just Queen's Blood in general. Those puzzle Queen's Blood fights
I
were
love
so
those. I
awesome.
love those. Those are probably my
Um,
favorite.
those were very satisfying to figure out.
And I was like,
There's
I don't want to look these up because I know there's one solution
yeah,
and that's it. It's not like, oh, here's a strategy on how to beat this person. It's like it's the answer. So like, oh, I want to try and figure this out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was one in because there's some like in Gold Saucer. There's a bunch
Mm.
more, and I think there was
Yeah.
one I didn't get it. It was a really weird destruction strategy, and I didn't
Yeah.
really use those cards much, so I just don't understand what this wants me to do. And I think I had to look up one of them because I was not getting closer after trying it like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
um but then there's some that are like, man, there's one in the Gold Saucer. It's like you have to play 5 rounds,
Yeah.
uh but
With
you
limited cards.
with only your normal 15 cards, and it's like that took me a few times to like finally like just be conservative enough early to have enough at the end. And yeah, that was very satisfying to get those eventually.
I tried to do that one and I was really close.
Definitely
But
took me like probably like an hour and a half of trying over and over to finally like get it.
yeah, no, that one I was, but yeah. Um, I one of my favorite cards is like the Chocobo Racer. You get a bonus 10 if
Yeah,
you win the line. Oh,
yeah.
that's like been the reason I've won once or twice. Yeah, I like that one. The Titan one is like a total go-to for me.
So I didn't have that because I didn't realize you could just go back to that guy and buy a bunch of cards.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't have his card the whole, only when I realized there's like a trophy for getting them all and I looked up what I was
yeah.
missing. And I was like, oh, that guy fucking sells cards. And so I didn't even have Titan for the whole first playthrough.
Oh, that one's great. It put like
Yeah.
two dots, two pawns on
Yeah.
like,
And
yeah.
it's like cheap
Um,
and powerful.
yeah, oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's great. Anyway, yeah, love Queen's Blood.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like using 5% of my brain, like I still use pretty basic cards, but
Same. But I
yeah,
just found like a general strategy with the card deck I had that like
yeah,
worked fairly well as long as I like reacted properly to what they did and
yeah,
just like, oh, okay, it doesn't work quite on this one. Let me just switch this card out with this one or whatever. And it was
yeah,
fun. Like that gave
yeah,
me like definitely like triple triad, like
yep,
flashbacks of just like really getting into the card game and
yep.
trying to like just be good enough to like get the things I want out of it and kind of have that satisfaction.
I remember like playing Final Regina, and with the
Yeah,
with the with the with the Queen, I was just like, this is impossible. Like, every enhancement like increases it by like 2 or something. It was just like, how the anyway.
did
I feel
you
like
do like the very last Queen's
uh
Blood like challenger?
like
Or
like there's Vincent,
oh
then
yeah, no,
there's
sorry, he wasn't. I was thinking, but Vincent comes and like helps you when you're being like possessed.
yeah. It's like, what is happening? This game's
It's
ridiculous.
so
Uh,
good.
yeah.
I meant the
Uh,
Vincent. That's what I was thinking of, but I forgot he wasn't the last one. Yeah.
Oh, and then he like Vincent being again too cool for school, like throws a card like Gambit X-Men style kind of
Yeah.
thing, and it's like, God damn it, that's
It's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Um.
Queen's Blood, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving into like the Junon sort of area. Man, the high wind is so fucking big. I
Man.
did not picture it in my head as being that large for some reason, even though it's a
Yeah.
giant airship, but it's just you just never get that scale really well,
Yeah.
even in like the pre-rendered backgrounds of the original. And when you're walking right under it on Junon, you're like, holy shit, that's massive.
I was hoping that at some point they would give a nod to like on OG box art, there was a picture of like Aerith looking up at the Highwind. Um,
Oh, sure, yeah.
I was hoping they would do that, but anyway, they didn't. But
Yeah, I didn't see that. Um, but yeah, I was just blown away by how fucking big it is. I thought that was so cool. And
I
it's crazy that it was like it's not so in this is one thing that's crazy in this game. In remake, you get a lot of these big set pieces, but they're just like what are called like skyboxes, which are
okay.
essentially like an evolution of the pre-rendered background. Where it's like
Yeah,
when you're looking
yeah,
at the plate underneath, it's not physically there. It's just like a picture that's very
yeah,
convincing.
yeah.
You
Of
know,
of depth and scale, kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah,
But
yeah,
like that high wind is there when you're
yeah,
under it. Like that is
yeah,
a. I mean, if someone proves it wrong otherwise, but it looks like physically rendered there. And even when you're
yeah,
just in a region, like
mm,
you could be just entering Junon and you can like see Junon down there,
yeah,
and it does not look faked. Like it's lower resolution because it's so far away, so you can't tell.
yeah.
But it's like it really feels like it's just being rendered over there.
And
Um,
I feel like the game's way to show off how crazy that is the whole like scenic picture quests,
sure, yeah,
whatever. It's just like, oh, because a bunch of those are my background now of just like Junon Harbor from the mountains way
yeah,
back, and it's just like, yep, we just wanted to show off how fucking brilliant, show off our work, kind of thing. So we're gonna make you do a quest about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like in Junon, I think we both had like the exact same screenshot of Tifa and Aerith in their
Oh,
in their soldier outfits or whatever.
they're
Um,
just like it's just too adorable. I can't even process how it's just like, what the hell?
So
Stop,
cute.
both of you, stop it. Uh,
Like we literally have the exact same screenshot that we took in that moment
mhm.
when they're like pretending to like they're like freeze or whatever, and so they
Yeah.
both have their helmets and they're like pointing their guns at you or whatever. Yeah, it was too fucking good. Um, what do I have
Um,
here?
I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
if you saw this. Tifa mentions in Junon, um, Emilio. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, and that was the name of the dude, like the robed guy in like next door, the apartment next to Cloud. I
Was it?
think. Sorry. I think I'd have to go. She was like, "Oh, this is Emilio. He's not a bad
I
guy."
know who you're talking about. I can't remember if that was. I thought
Maybe it's not Emilio.
didn't
Uh,
she? I thought there was an Emilio that she talked about that was in Nibelheim.
Nibelheim. Yeah. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
is that the same person? Maybe I'm misremembering. So, uh, I'd have to go back and see when she's like, "This is so and so. He's not a bad guy." Because Cloud's literally with
Yeah.
like the sword. But maybe I'm mixing two memories here because I was like, "Wait, Emilio was the
Oh
name of
yeah,
the
no,
guy."
because that would be in the wrong order because he's already fucked up. Or wait, because
No,
I don't
she
remember
in
what was she
in
talking about him for in Rebirth?
in Junon, she was like, uh, she just mentioned him, like, "Oh,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah." Like they're at a store, like, "Oh, you remember Emilio back in Nibelheim? Oh yeah, the guy who ran the store, ran the," like they're just reminiscing of Nibelheim or something like
Yeah.
that. So I was like, is is the guy who ran the general store in Nibelheim, did he end up being the Black Cloak in
Sure.
Sector
Yeah,
7?
I'll have to go back and look at what she says his name because she says his name for sure
100%. And
in remake. I
I
just don't remember what it was.
I thought it was Emilio, but as I say it out loud, I'm not sure. Anyway,
Okay,
anyone wants to fact
fact
check
check
that
us.
guy, yeah, go for it. Yeah. Um,
um,
I I I can't remember if this was in Junon or the Grasslands, but like when Tifa kind of fact or calls out Cloud on re or Aerith calls out Cloud on regifting the flower to Tifa.
yeah,
Uh,
man, that
like
might have been Nibelheim even.
uh
No, I don't. But I remember that scene. I just forget
yeah.
which part it was.
Based
It comes
based on
up.
the order of my notes, which was
Oh
like,
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it was probably one of those
yeah.
earlier ones. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like she was just like, "I saw the flower I gave you in Tifa's bar," and it's just like, "Oh, you're so busted." And I was like, anyway, I thought that was really a
Yeah, I
cute.
think it's in
Yeah,
like the Junon, like the inn under Junon. Like you have
yeah,
character
yeah,
moments in there, I
yeah,
think. But yeah, it's just like, ooh, whoops.
yeah, 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 exactly. Thought I could get away with that one.
um,
Um,
the fucking NPCs in Junon when you're recruiting all the soldiers. I think I sent you a video of one where it's just like the guy's like, nothing gets me more excited than like hiding in whatever when I'm on duty or
yeah.
something. It like does
Oh
not
man.
need to exist. But it's
No.
just the way he says it's so funny. And then there's another one when it's one of your actual like, I forget what you call them, but like the groups of soldiers that you're recruiting. Um, and they're looking at, I think it's the ones that are like looking at models and they're like, oh, like, hey, like they see you and like, hey, what do you think about this one or whatever? And the guy, his buddy's just like, God, look at the helmet, dipshit. It's like, so because he
Because he's
has
a
like the
captain or
red
whatever.
line. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
it got me so good.
I loved all the Junon stuff.
And they follow you around as you're like, if you turn around at any point, you just
yeah.
see them marching behind you, like
Just
20 feet back or whatever. But
I loved it, and even like before you get to Under Junon, like the music of the world
yeah,
there is so good, and yeah, I loved all of that. It was so good.
I was when I was watching Max's playthrough, when you go to that like random guy, I forget what you have to what the side quest is to get him to fix. but it's like a quest with Aerith, and you like have to climb. You have to get the chocobo to climb the little mountain into his little cave that he's up, and
Okay.
that's like there's an NPC in OG that's like I don't remember. He's in like a I think he's in like a cave like from the
Oh.
world map, and because he's laying in the exact same position, and it's
Oh,
like
really?
you even have like an option to like wake him with magic or wake him up or something like by yelling at him or something, and you get a similar choice here.
Oh, I don't remember
um
that from OG. Yeah.
yeah, he's just like a
Uh,
super disinterested like merchant or whatever.
yeah.
And anyway, I think Max had remembered like recognized
Hmm.
that, and I was like, oh, that's cool how they just sprinkle stuff like that in.
The similar thing was like in remake, the materia sales guy in Walmart and
That's
how
just like
he
laying on the yeah. Yeah, exactly, it's
similar
exactly
kind of
like
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the guy that you end up getting like Aerith's limit break from.
Hmm.
Anyway, I can't remember, but
Okay.
like in OG, I mean,
OG. Yeah. Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, just the NPC dialogue in Junon was so good, and that fucking bald bar with Rude, it's like so random.
I think I literally like put my head in my hands there. I was like, what is happening?
And they have
Like,
like their little
yeah,
little
they
like
do a little
secret signal or whatever. Little
like
like
and like
uh
Rude is there, and it's just like, okay, yeah. And that's what I find funny about the Turks is like sometimes it's like, hey, we're off duty, it's fine, we got no beef with you, but when we're on the
yeah.
clock, I'll beat the shit
Well,
out of
he
you,
doesn't
kind of
even
thing.
recognize you.
Yeah,
He
sorry,
doesn't
true,
even know
true.
you're Cloud.
God, yeah, and it's like, yeah. Oh, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's funny because part of the reason I laugh is because I think of like whatever factory where they're making this game, where it's like, okay, so just like come up with like some ridiculous stuff or whatever. It's like, oh, what about like a writer's room? Oh, what
Yeah.
about some bar that's just for bald guys and Rude's there? And it's like, yes, make an entire sequence about
Yeah.
that.
Make an
Um,
entire cutscene about
yeah,
that.
exactly. It's just like, how about this? Like, yes, good idea. Do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I find that funny.
Yeah. That got me really good. With the Junon. Oh no. So we talked a little bit about like the stuff on the boat with like Red in his Michael Jackson moment, and then he has like a Karen moment when he's like, "Yeah, you can't play in the tournament because it's only for humans or something," and he's like,
Yeah.
"I want if you stay there, and it's not like an active dialogue that you engage. If you just
Yeah.
stand near him, he like gets up on the counter, he's like, I want to talk to your manager."
Yeah. Oh man.
It's so good.
So good. Um I have a note here. I don't know if there's any autocorrect things here, but like there's some girl that walks into Madam M on the boat and she kind of like clocks it kind of thing. Is that supposed to be someone of significance? I guess I'll in my replay, maybe
I
it's
think it was.
Regina.
I think it was Regina. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
because she did that, and I was like, oh, should I know who this? Should I know who that is? And I ultimately didn't until you learn that she's like a new character, like she's
Yeah.
not in OG.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I wrote that down, but then I probably didn't recognize that it was probably Regina. So I'll
Yeah,
see it in my playthrough and be
yeah.
like, oh, okay, yeah,
I think that was Regina in that moment. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And I have you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and then you get like the Genova fight on the boat, which is like from the original, which was I
Oh,
love Yuffie. Yuffie just continuously like falls into Cloud's arms in a lot of
yeah,
moments in this game. Even like one of their synergy attacks, she like there's some explosion and she kind of goes down in it. The explosion like pushes her and Cloud like catches her or whatever. It's like she just constantly finds herself like being like in Cloud's arms accidentally. It's just
uh,
it's really funny. And like that was
and
the moment when he sort of saves her from that captain or whatever. Because
yeah,
she was like
yeah.
in using one of the robes and it's just like in his arms again. It just made me laugh.
And the Genova music there was
Yeah.
so
So,
good.
another version, a new version of
Yeah.
that song.
Oh, and just like the it was like a a children's choir or something.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, God, these guys, they just get it. They
Yeah.
get it. Um,
That was a great. Did Was sort of half expecting them to just still at this point in the game. It was early enough that I was like, well, they'll probably reuse like the Genova theme or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
they're gonna like give you like 3 different versions of that song by the time this game is over.
Oh man.
So yeah, that was a sick boss fight. Um,
I have like Tifa and Aerith talking. I don't know if this is autocorrect. Talking about Faz. Were they talking about like boys at some point and talking about some? I didn't kind of recognize the
mm,
name.
no, I don't remember that.
Anyway, not
Not
sure.
sure.
Might be an autocorrect thing, but going through it again, I'll have to try and track it better.
Sure.
Um, uh,
And then Costa del Sol was like way bigger than I was expecting. It's
oh man,
crazy.
I
But like,
felt like I was in Costa del Sol forever,
yeah,
and I
there's a
loved it.
lot. There's a
Yeah,
lot to do, and like that pirate shooting mini game with another new original song that
best
was
music
fucking
ever.
great.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the when you do all those sequences, getting the vouchers and stuff, and you such a good moment when like Aerith and Tifa do their like slow motion walk onto the beach, and Barrett's just like, man, they're not even trying to blend in. It's so funny.
oh man,
Because it
that's
even zooms in on Tifa for a moment, and you just see her like kind of smiling a little bit.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
she knows what she's doing. Like they
yeah,
know they're just like. And then Cloud has like a really funny interaction where he's like, yeah, it's really hot. I mean, the weather's really hot." So
oh
good.
yeah, classic, just being super awkward. Yeah. Anyway,
And Red has a funny moment where he like describes them as uh, some kind of
yeah,
like dolphin and some jellyfish, and they're like, "Is that supposed to be?" And he's like, "I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't understand human beauty or
yeah, I know.
something." It was
Yeah,
such a good
exactly.
moment.
Yeah,
Um. Anyway, so more like serious tone, I guess, is like, man, that scene on the beach at the end. I absolutely cried when like the moment with Aerith that you have.
yeah. Just talking about her future self being strong and all this
Yeah,
stuff. Like, oh,
absolutely destroyed me.
yeah,
Took a lot of screenshots of that scene. But yeah, that was a real like emotional gut punch too that I just wasn't ready for because they don't have that kind of moment there in the
yeah.
original. But yeah, that fucked me up.
Uh,
That one got me real good.
no, and I felt like it was kind of a little out of nowhere. Like, I, Acosta del Sol was a lot of like destroying tables with a Segway. Just like being
Just an
ridiculous.
absolute menace on 2 wheels.
Yeah. And then like that kind of came. So I think the sneakiness of that
Yeah,
gut punch really like hit me hard because I wasn't expecting it. So
yeah.
yeah, that was crippling for
And
me.
how like
Yeah.
Madame M like unlocked Tifa's piano skills. Like, so funny. I love this fucking
Oh man.
game.
Oh
So
God.
good.
I love it so much.
Um, and when you go, well, we talked about the Cloud moment with Yuffie. It was like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
That was just so good. Um, oh, just like so, the music outside when you're in the Corel area is like the
Yeah.
music when you're in that like not on the world map, but in the Corel like mountain area or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
I knew we were gonna get that song at some point in this area, and I
Yeah.
was like not disappointed at all. I love that song.
Uh,
Um,
it was done so well too. It had the right kind of grittiness and
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so good. Um, I wrote down like Yuffie and Barrett's banter as so good. I just love how
Yeah.
like there's that point where you're like going up the mountain and she's like, what was it like, oh, I need permission to you gotta he told her she needs to like ask permission to do something or something, and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, permission to yawn, sir,
Yeah.
permission to like just all this stuff. And then like they keep going with like, man, Tifa, how do you put up with this guy? And she even like kind of gives him some shit too. And
Yeah.
yeah, just that those character moments, dialogue moments, are just like they fill out those in between big story segment. They fill that
Yeah.
stuff in so well. Um, and man, the music. Talking about music again. When you get to Mount Corel and you start doing like you split and you
Yeah.
just like I think Aerith or Yuffie and Barrett
Oh
go
yeah.
on ahead. The
Because
music.
Cloud is kind of having a moment there. So like maybe is
No,
that what you're talking about?
no, that's when. No, sorry. So when you're leaving the Costa del Sol area and you
Yeah.
start going up the mountain, it's like Aerith is like having trouble climbing, like she's out of breath. So you're
Mm.
like, okay, we'll wait. You guys go check out ahead or whatever, and like her
Oh
and
yeah,
Barrett
yeah,
run
yeah.
off,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that like synth wave fucking song that plays on the clock. I was just like,
Yeah.
that is a moment I literally put the controller down and just like I sat there for like 10 minutes to be like, this game's fucking amazing. Like, I did not need this track because you could have just played the Corel theme continuing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, that's like one of my favorite songs in the game. Like, it's
Yeah.
so good.
All the music is so effing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
just,
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When you get there on your like revisit, um, God, that music, I was, my jaw dropped. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What am I like? When I realized it was a new track, I'm trying to figure out. Wait, do I know this song? And I was like, no, I don't. And it like really kicks in like a minute or two in, and it's
Yeah.
just like this is the best game ever made. I was so fucking blown away.
In a game where like you have a rabid fan base who like obviously appreciates the Mithril Mine theme done right and
Yeah,
Unova it's like, but the thing is that when they put their own like uh there's a Simpsons quote that's just like, no new crap, play the play
yeah,
the classics, but like their new crap is so perfectly FF7.
yeah,
Like it's like their new stuff is like, yep, I like this too. It's not a redone version of an OG thing, but it fits.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
so
Um,
amazing.
Even like
Um,
the Gongaga kind of theme, I love
yeah,
that too. That was awesome.
and like the region music for each region, like as you unlock, I don't know if it's specifically like more towers or more this or that. I think it's just general progression of the area as you mark
mm,
off those little nodes.
yeah,
It like extra layers of the music starts to
yeah.
come out, and that's so good. I
Uh,
love once you
the
get
mu
like the full version of a region theme. It's just like it's popping
yeah.
off.
Um,
Um,
And I'll have
the
to like I remember really liking that track when you separate off. So I can't wait to get back to that
yeah,
part. Yeah.
it, I think you'll like forget how like
Mm,
insane it is. It's yeah, that's like one of my favorite songs in the whole game. It's so good.
awesome.
Um, so yeah, Gold Saucer, that fucking dance number you can't is and what's crazy because I was watching someone's reaction to it or whatever is like it's animated so well, like the actual like
Yeah.
very just like smooth animation for their like dances and all the little moments. It's
Yeah.
like that's all rendered in engine because I saw
I
someone
know.
go there
Yeah.
with like an outfit, like with
Yeah.
the beach outfit, and it played the scene, but them with in their outfit or whatever, and like same thing I did with like FF16 is like you can
Yeah.
look at Cloud Sword, and if
Yeah.
it's the Buster Sword, and there's not a ton of pre-rendered in this, it's
No.
mostly in engine.
It's
Um,
unbelievable. I kept thinking that you've kind of clocked me on that or to understand that a bit better
yeah,
and it's like, yeah, there's like I'm exaggerating, two or three like pre-rendered scenes.
yeah. There's
But
not if more than that, not many. Very like there's not many at all.
and like there'll be scenes where now going through New Game Plus, and it's like, oh, I've got my whatever the Mako infused sword. You get it
Oh
kind of at
yeah,
the end there. And it's like, oh, it's not the Buster, it's that. This is an engine, I guess. Like
yeah.
Jesus Christ, like this game. So
And so
yeah,
that whole sequence, which I just feel is like even just more smooth animated than like a normal story cutscene because it's all dancing and all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like the part I loved. I didn't notice it the first time because it's so fast. Um, Number one, they just know what the dance is. Like, that's a video game thing that I'm not gonna question. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But like when Dio comes out,
That guy fucking kills me.
he's doing his and the this isn't one of the things I didn't notice first. I immediately noticed it. It's like all his background dancers are just like aggressively like pelvic thrusts.
Oh god, and I was like, yes, more of this. I want this to be as ridiculous as possible because that's what the gold saucer is to me. Like the gold saucer is Vegas to me.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yes.
just and just like he's like peck like jumping and like thrusting and like constantly, Mr. Universe poses
Yeah.
like it's out of control. The women like fainting.
So that's the thing that I didn't notice the first time, and when I rewatch, and that one I didn't like only rewatch it when I played through it again. I saved a clip of that scene so I could watch it again right
Yeah.
after. But it's like Yuffie when Dio comes out, she kind of like closes her eyes and then kind of like peeks,
Yeah.
and then it goes. I think it's when he bounces his pecs, or maybe he just takes off or he just jumps down and poses. She just faints.
Yeah.
Like, she just like it just falls backwards.
I just love it so much. I think it's the best.
Yeah.
Everything. The girls are dancing and like I kind of I don't know, I almost like had like delayed appreciation later when like I think I went back to Costa del Sol and I wanted to, it's like, oh, if I'm back here, I might as well change into the outfits, like be stupid not to. And then it's like, oh, Yuffie, I can change her outfits as well. Oh, and there's more than just the the
The
like
swimsuit.
swimsuit.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, oh
you get her
yeah,
outfit from that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's called like Asian pop star or something like that.
I think it's Wu Tai and Pop or Wu Tai Pop Star or
Wu-Tai
something like
pop
that.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, of course it's just like a, K-pop kind of
Yeah.
and I was like, yes, that's exactly what they're going for. And because I think of Wu-Tai as being like, China
It's
or Korea,
yeah,
like the much more Asian rather than the Japanese Tokyo kind of thing.
right.
And so it's like, yeah, of course this is just like K-pop kind of pop star kind of thing. So yeah, oh, I was like,
Yes.
oh, that's hilarious. That
It's
makes the
like,
golden saucer bit even better. So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's incredible. I love that sequence. And it's like I expected something like that. And because we did get a very brief look in one of those early trailers of
yeah,
Andre dancing, but I thought that was
mhm,
gonna be like during the musical, like
yeah,
the date sequence or whatever. So to
yeah.
get just some dance off that they oh my god, it's so fucking
Oh,
good. I love
I was
this
just
game.
like, yeah, I was just, I love this game. I love this so much. It doesn't have to be this, and it
Yeah.
is because they can and they know. Like, I expected kind of fireworks and like a big welcome, and it was like, oh,
Not
I,
a full on dance routine and yeah, musical number.
and like I'm really happy. Again, just call it fate or whatever you want to call it, but like I was playing a bunch, and then I got to kind of corral. I did a bunch of the um stuff that you got to do to get out of the Corral prison and all this stuff. Did a bunch of Queen's Blood there, and then Gold Saucer was one of like the first story beats after I returned from this big conference. And so it
Oh,
was just
okay.
like such like an awesome reward.
Sure.
Because the conference was crazy intense. It was really busy. I I I did like two big national conferences in like the span of a couple of weeks. So like I was just like completely dead to
Yeah.
come home to just like, okay, here we go into that. And I feel like I was just like bawling because I was just like, this is like my welcome home and I'm
Yeah.
just so happy. Anyway, it was pretty amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And depending who you get the like that first date option with,
Yeah.
I think it's there you get the first one. the sort of like mini date.
Mhm.
You get like a version of their like, so I had Aerith, and it's like I get like a version of Aerith's theme mixed in with the gold saucer
Yep.
theme as you.
Yep.
It's like, and making those like hallways instead of the like tubes you slid in, that made
Yeah.
way more sense. And I like refused to fast travel when I was in Gold
I
Saucer. I
remember
genuinely
you told me
just love
that.
walking around everywhere.
Um,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
really funny.
I did kind of clock the
The music,
Tifa's theme blended in with the gold saucer. Yeah, like
yeah,
it just the game is just so perfect.
yeah. Um,
The like ran I laugh every time at the Tom Berry in your room. Because like I'd forget
it's
it's
like a
there.
humidifier.
I'd like forget it was there, and then it'd just be like purifying the room or something. I'm like, what the? Oh God, this is a stupid little thing. Oh man.
It's so funny. Um, okay, so yeah, moving on. When we get to like Gongaga area, uh, just Cisne showing up.
Sisney.
That was so fucking
I
like
love
unexpected
Sisney.
and like so good.
Yeah.
I loved her character by the end of it. And like I liked her in Crisis Core, but I wasn't like, oh, like I wasn't like a Cisne fan
Same.
necessarily from that. And it's just something about her like voice. All of them are voiced perfectly, like casted perfectly. But
But
just man,
Sisney's voice acting is awesome.
yeah, she
Yeah.
did. I just found like her performance was like not one dimensional at all. And like, yeah, there's like a little moment where she looks at Kate Sith and he's kind of like, he's like shushes her. It's like, so because
Yeah.
she's a, ex Turk,
Shinra
so she
employee. Yeah.
knows. So yeah, just, I was super excited just to see her in general, but like, oh, like that's a great tie in. And then the more we, dealt with her, I was like, I love this character. This character's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
And
Um,
because I feel like her character in Crisis Core sometimes like didn't make a lot of sense. Like, is she a Turk or is she just like in love with Zack? Like
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think part of that is like the writing in Crisis Core, because when they remade it for Reunion, they didn't change. It was like 1-to-1 remake essentially,
Yeah,
like at least cutscene wise.
yeah,
So yeah, that is a little lost in translation probably because it's a more product of its time.
yeah.
So that's why I
But
wasn't like crazy about Cisne in general. But yeah, love her in this game. Holy shit.
just add so much more depth of just because it was like she a Turk, like what's going on, and clearly liked Zach, and then just like, oh, okay, yeah, she's kind of settled in Gongaga and kind of helping rebuild.
Yeah.
This is like, man, she is a very altruistic
Yeah.
character. Yeah, so no, and anyway, added a lot of depth to her here. I thought her
Yeah.
performance was excellent.
Yeah. Such a great character. Um there's like oh, when you go into the reactor and like when during the like dungeon part of that sequence,
Yeah,
and you get that, I think you texted me about it, like the weapon attacks theme that's
yeah.
playing while you're running. Oh, that was
Oh
so sick.
God, I love that theme so much. That was
Yeah.
um, either like get in a battle and hit the assess kind of button
Just
and
let
just
it play for a
let it
minute.
play for a little while. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh God, essentially pause kind of turns the music off. So like this is just a way like to listen and
Yeah.
not waste any time. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
And then that whole sequence when you're um when like Cloud goes, I think we texted about this too, like he goes like full Sephiroth mode and like even like holds his sword up like like does like the Sephiroth pose, and he's just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
God, Cloud's fucking losing it, man. He's like,
Uh,
like attacks Tifa at that point, and like, God, I just feel so like, I feel so bad for Tifa, like she's trying so hard to like
yeah,
get through to him, but it's like, again, it's like, okay, but like be honest with him and tell him
yeah,
tell him he wasn't there, because
yeah,
so it's like it's that same thing where I said like they paint everyone like equally, like
Flawed. Yeah.
flawed, exactly, yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's just like it really culminates in that moment when, um,
I
yeah, like attacks her.
that 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 one really got to me. Like in these big cry moments where like the Cloud does that, because I was so like, it's just like, not only like, I was just like, this was a moment of like, this is sad. This is
Yeah,
incredible. Like Cloud is mentally ill,
yep.
and Tifa so desperately wants to help him, and it's just like, oh, uh,
And then he snaps out of it immediately
yeah.
and is like devastated that because he in that moment he thinks he killed her.
I know, and
Um,
just like, how does one even kind of like live with himself, Cloud? And
yeah.
it's just
How do you
like, yeah,
process that?
and like he clearly is having trouble doing that. He's just a
Yeah,
super depressed kind of individual that's just being manipulated, and oh God, and just Tifa's just like, no, it's my friend, and I can. She keeps having the patience.
yeah.
Oh
And
God,
they
like she,
have a great moment like after all that, and she goes in the live stream and relives some of her memories and stuff, which was
yeah,
cool that they flipped that on
yep, yep,
Tifa. I really
yeah,
liked that.
I like that a
Um,
lot.
and they have a moment when he's with her in the room, and he starts like finally saying like, I don't know what's wrong with me, and and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's just like, okay, go on. Like she
yeah,
like doesn't try to like protect him in that moment.
yeah.
Like she wants him to try and
Process these
figure this
feelings.
stuff out
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
then like Kate's at the Yuffie. I didn't notice this because
Oh
I
God, that killed me. That killed me.
so I don't play with subtitles on for this game because I played in English. And so I didn't understand what I just thought it was like them murmuring. But when
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched it with someone's playthrough and it's like they're saying like kiss,
Kiss.
kiss. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. So it
Um,
was like really funny to see that after the fact.
I do play with subtitles because I tend to turn the music way up and the voice stuff way down.
Sure. So you
And
don't miss
so,
stuff, yeah.
yeah. But like, oh, I was just like, come on, like you guys, like this is the moment. And then they're saying what I'm thinking, but I was like, oh, what are you doing, you idiots? I was so mad at them, and I was like, you fucking assholes. Like they're about to have like and not just like boy meets girl and they should be together, but like they are so close to the breakthrough of, and it's like, oh, okay. Anyway, I laughed. I thought
Yeah.
it was funny. I thought it was really funny. I like
Um,
Kate said, like, what the hell?
he's
Why?
he's like fucking I don't know how old Reeve is, but he's like he's not a teenage boy. Yeah, when
That,
you think about it in that context, it's pretty funny.
oh man. Anyway, no, I just, again, this game knows when to be silly,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it means the payoff on the gold saucer date is even bigger.
Yeah.
So sure, but still, but
Um,
yeah.
there's also the silly topic. There's a side quest, that stupid side quest where you had to like lure the chickens with that little box. And you just had to bring him back, and it's like you go and Red is like, we have to like, he's all about like protecting the wildlife or whatever, and
Yeah.
then you get them it's like, thanks for your help. How about a nice like roast chicken dinner? And it cuts to black and it plays the fucking game over
Game over. I was like, wait. I was like, what? Again, there's so many of these moments. I was like, what's happening? Am I like, am I dreaming this? Like, this is ridiculous.
Red
Like
13.
the OG game over theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Red 13 is so devastating. It's like, why did what did I do?
Oh God, I
It's
forgot about
so funny. I like actually like was one of the moments where it wasn't just like a quick laugh out loud. It was like I had to pause because I just couldn't like I had the giggles. I was laughing so
that.
much about that. This Red 13 was like, they would have been fine if I just if I didn't help or whatever.
Yeah. It was kind of fourth wall breaking and kind of meta, and like anti-hero,
Circle of
like,
life, like
yeah, yeah, it was like, what was this even? What was like, what is this?
and the woman was so like happy about it. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait. I'm gonna make you my famous roast chicken. Yeah, that part got
Oh
me
man.
so good.
Oh, that's good. I forgot about that. That was in
Yeah.
Gungaga, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the side quests. I think you have to do it for a manuscript in hard mode, so you'll do it again.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think game over music was too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That actually made me laugh. I forgot about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, in the Gongaga area, when so you get the hint that you were gonna meet Sid because they tell you like this pilot will take you to
Mm.
Cosmo or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was like, if they don't play the Tiny Bronco theme,
Oh
I
yeah.
will be so devastated. And of course, they played like the most beautiful version rendition of that song, and I was like, because it only plays once in OG7,
Yep. Yep. When you
for like
steal it, kind of thing. Yeah.
45 seconds. Like it's such.
Mhm.
I remember even on like on the soundtrack, like the actual physical soundtrack for the game,
Yep.
the song is like 58 seconds long or something. Like it's
Yep.
super short. Um, and yeah, you get that when he comes in, and you get it. I think you get it when you're also flying, like when you're using it to fly, and you
Hmm.
get the little cutscene in between.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was just super happy that they used that song because I was like, yeah, that is it's so quick and it plays once, and but it's like it's such like a cool
I love that theme.
theme.
And I don't know if you remember this, but like when we like randomly downloaded, off of Napster,
Sure.
like I feel like it was Hurry Faster,
Yep.
the fight theme, and the Tiny Bronco one. Like they were just the random ones that we could find on LimeWire or
Yeah, you're
Napster.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
and so we had this like Steal the Tiny Bronco is the name of the track, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, the hell is this? Like it's FF7. So and then seeing it in the game, like, oh, this is that theme that and I mean, we probably downloaded it because it was it was a reasonable 5-hour download because it was only 58 seconds, or whatever.
Yeah. Good
But well, we
point.
downloaded it just for bandwidth reasons. But it anyway, it has a
Yeah,
special
that's probably
place.
why
Yeah.
it's like I forgot about that. That's maybe was why I'm just like so attached to that song.
Uh,
Outside of it just being, a very good piece of
cute,
music.
a
But
cute little vignette kind of thing. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So that was really exciting when I heard that when he was coming in.
yeah,
And then okay, yeah, so we alluded to this earlier. When you get to Cosmo Canyon, first of all, the fucking music in Cosmo Canyon,
oh, so
so
good.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that sort of twangy country version of the world map theme. Good
Oh,
lord, that song was catchy.
yeah.
Um, Especially as you like progress the area and you like unlock the fuller version with like the fiddle and the
Yeah.
flourishes and stuff. Um, but yeah, so there was a point I was running through Cosmo Canyon, and I've definitely watched Advent Children like so many times,
Yeah.
especially when like we didn't have a official release of it yet, and we like
Yeah.
downloaded the Japanese version
Yeah.
and just tried to watch it a bunch of times to like understand what's happening without dialogue.
Yeah.
And so like I think that song plays at the very beginning. No, because it's like the opening like motorcycle battle that Cloud has. It plays at a significant moment. I think it's like when he defeats like Sephiroth and he turns back to Kadaj, and there's like the rain starts, and I think it's like around that point. Um. Anyway, I just like I know, and I have Advent Children soundtrack on my
Yeah.
Spotify. Like I've always had it on whatever music service I've had. I
Yeah.
know that soundtrack like inside and out, and I was just playing and I'm like, oh yeah, I like that song. And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to be here. Like I just like didn't even register it because I just know it so well. And I
Yeah.
was just like, hold on. And I didn't know what it was called. I forgot the name of it, but I was like, that is from Advent Children, like
Yeah.
100%. And I looked it up, and literally the name of the song is called Promised Land,
Yeah.
which is just like so fucking cool.
Oh
um,
man. And like I'm really because like uh I haven't I haven't seen Advent Children in a long time, and I should. It was really neat. It was released in theaters in a
Yeah,
few places like LA
yeah,
and
yeah,
whatnot, whatever. But I should have just done my own rewatch. But so I haven't watched it in a long time. I should do that again. But the music has been a huge part of, like, again, studying playlists and
yeah,
whatever. Like I I've listened to that constantly, but I don't know the names of all the tracks because I
yeah.
just put it on and listen to 6 hours of
Same.
Advent Children and Dissidia and and all these kind of other Final Fantasy Distant Worlds,
Yeah,
stuff. So I didn't quite pin it to being in the FF7 universe because I kind of forget Advent Children is part of that
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But
but yeah, so it was, and it's neat because it's like, what's it called? Diegetic. It's like that music is happening in the game, not like the character can hear them because it's like a bunch of people like
uh
singing it, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
It's not the soundtrack.
it's
Yeah,
like an in-universe piece of music that is
yeah,
happening there.
that's cool.
And so that's just like, yeah, I just thought that was such a cool little Easter egg. And then the other Easter egg, which is just too funny, is the song you get in Cosmo Canyon for the
Uh,
piano mini game is the
yeah.
song that we were alluding to. That weird, I forget what it's literally called like something about two legs, like
Yeah,
can't walk on two legs, or it's, I can't remember the name of it, but something
I remember,
like that.
yeah, and it's kind of like longer than a normal song title. Like it's like hard to walk on two legs on a boat or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, it's exactly that song that plays on the boat when Red is in. So it's like, that's deliberate putting that, because like
yeah.
that does not fit in Cosmo Canyon at all. So it's like that's clearly like a reference. Um,
I think I told you this where like I was able to get perfect on all the piano themes until that. And then
mhm.
I was like, I'll get A and move on with my life.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
That was a
but
nice little Easter egg.
yeah, that was a hard piano track too. That
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, we talked about like the Red 13 sort of awakening theme and stuff, but then when we get to like the Gi, and that was all new,
Yeah,
really expanding their story. And I think OG talked about, I don't even know if it talked about them like being,
dealing with the ancients or
not
whatever.
not
Or
even that, because that, I feel like that's definitely new, but it's like I don't know if OG talked about them like how they can't die, like they just keep recycling in the planet,
yeah,
like the planet rejects them. I don't
yeah,
think they went even that, they were just ghosts. Like I think they were
yeah,
just like ghosts under Cosmo Canyon or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
So building that out and make that makes way more sense why they built, or like they constructed the black materia, because
yeah,
they're just like, please kill us. Like
yeah, yeah,
we want
yeah,
to die now and we can't because this planet keeps rejecting us.
yeah.
Because like in OG, it's just like this materia just exists and it can destroy the world. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, whatever.
Sure, why
That's
not?
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, gotta have a conflict somehow.
yeah, yeah. So I love that they, how they built that lore up. And again, paints the Cetra as like they they weren't
Flawed.
like fully
Yeah,
righteous and all like all you know um the personification of good, and because
yeah,
they just lied to them to like basically shut them up or whatever, and
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we'll get you that materia, no problem.
yeah,
Put it in this fortress or whatever, and like
yeah.
unattainable. So um and there's some really good character performance moments from Aerith when she kind of is realizing like, oh, my people are not saints. you know
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
um
There are two sides to every story,
Yeah.
kind
And
of
you
thing.
kind
Yeah,
of like understand the geese like desire, is like they're fucking stuck there and they can't move on.
yeah.
Obviously their solution is a little extreme, but you don't disagree with the reason behind it, right?
That
Um,
yeah, oh, totally. And that whole area, dungeon, whatever, man, the music in that was so, again, perfectly atmospheric for
Yeah,
that
very
set piece. Yeah,
unsettling.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I like that. The puzzles were they're kind of fun, and
Yep.
all the Red 13 on the wall stuff. I really like that. I thought that was fun. Yeah,
One cool thing that Max pointed out on his videos is um, it's really cool that like Barrett and Red get a like kind of bonding moment during
yeah,
that sequence, and I'm pretty sure, excuse me, any time that Barrett calls Red by name after that, he
yeah.
calls him Nanaki.
Nanaki. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
because they like bonded or whatever, and so he like respects his actual
Yep.
name or whatever. It's just like that's like just a cool extra thing. Now I told you about this. Excuse me. Um, I'm like 99.9%
Ah,
sure the voice
yeah, yeah.
actor of that Guy Natak guy is the same as the guy who narrates the 2015 teaser trailer. I went back and listened to it a couple times and I was like, no, I think it's a coincidence. I don't think it has any significance of what he's saying there is could apply to like the Guy and the Black Materia and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Like I
But
tried
you're
to see if I think it's the same guy,
okay, yeah,
but I
yeah, yeah.
think that is just coincidence. I don't think that's deliberate. That the speech he was giving about during that teaser trailer
Yeah,
was
yeah. I see.
paralleling, so I was like, I could still be wrong. Like maybe there's some layer to it that I'm not seeing, but still cool. I definitely recognize his voice. He's got a very distinct voice.
I thought you were saying it's the same guy that voiced the 1997 trailer.
Oh no no
Like
no 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 the one when he's talking about like because like when you listen to that trailer from 2015, it's like it's clearly like the company like Square Enix talking about remaking this game, and
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like the reunion is at hand, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever comes, it'll bring joy. It may bring whatever, and it's
Yeah.
like if you listen to that speech, I was trying to listen to parallels that maybe it's like him talking about
Yeah.
summoning meteor and stuff like that. And there could be some parts of it that could be interpreted that way, but I think it is
Yeah.
more coincidence
Just
than anything.
coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were comparing it to the OG
No,
trailer.
sorry.
And I was like, geez, that's a deep dive.
Yeah, no,
But
sorry.
um no, the Gee thing, yeah, super atmospheric, kind of creepy,
Yeah.
Powerful
I was
with
like worried for Aerith a little bit. Like, I was
yeah.
like, I don't know if they're gonna try to like attack her or like
Mm,
kidnap her or something.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, it's like you're oh, I'm half ancient, whatever, and it's like, yeah, maybe keep that information to yourself for a little bit. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that
Just
was
a
really
good
cool.
like expand. That's a good point
Yep,
to expand,
yep.
and really give more context for the Black Materia.
I
That made a lot more sense.
I told you, like, I was starting to get low level anxiety of like, oh, is this them kind of taking liberties with the Temple of the Ancients? Like,
Yeah,
because they were talking about the Black Materia a bunch. I was like, oh, is the Black Materia here?
right.
Um, and I was like, oh shit. Am I near the end of the game? I'm not ready to be near the end of the game yet. And I was like, no, 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 don't do that on me. And then I was happy to know that I still had a shit ton to do. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, then we finish up there, and then so we go to the like Nebel area, and I love because in the grasslands you get like the very expected version of like the world map theme,
Yeah.
right? But it
Yep.
skips the creepy part, like the
Yeah. Yeah.
weird, like creepy part, and it just loops in like the happy part.
Yep. Yep.
And so I love that the Nebel area is like just the creepy part
Yeah. Yeah.
of that theme.
Yeah.
I thought that was really smart too, because I don't even remember you get the world map theme in remake in Sector 7. I don't remember if it loops that or not. I'd
I
have
think
to go back.
I think it does the
Okay,
creepy part.
because I just
It includes the creepy part. I think.
okay,
Yeah.
because I just couldn't remember if like, man, have I heard this song yet in the remake, series?
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember, but
And I
I
think
think it was smart to like just use that part for that whole region or
yep,
whatever.
because the grasslands is that big set piece,
Going on an adventure.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Big
But then
open world.
Nibelheim's, the raggedy, mountainous, uh, sad
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you
I think it's
forget. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say you forget until Tifa mentions it. When you get close, she's like, I don't know if I'm ready for this because
Oh,
they think it's gonna be
burned to the
burnt to.
ground.
Yeah, they think
Yeah.
it's gonna be absolutely destroyed still. Like they have no reason to think that it would still be there.
That was I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because it's just like, yeah, you go back to Nibelheim. But like in their mind, like this is not this place was literally just like my home and all the memories with it, more or less destroyed. So like it's not like me coming back home for Christmas. It's like,
Yeah,
no, this was a traumatizing
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
I don't think I'm ready to go back. It's like, oh yeah, shit. Like everyone should have just kind of slowed down for a second. They're like, yeah, you guys might not be ready for this. Like,
yeah,
are we sure we should be doing this kind of thing? So yeah, that hit me pretty hard. Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
I didn't think about it until she said that like out
yeah.
loud. I was like, oh yeah, fuck, this is traumatizing.
Yeah. And then
um,
almost like even more traumatizing for it to be
just like
rebuilt and
erased.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
and like completely like now nobody knows what happened here, so it almost makes it worse because you can't
yeah.
memorialize like the people that died or whatever. um
Whereas, oh, it's kind of funny, in Gongaga, they had a huge like
yeah,
memorial for look, and by Shinra, like, hey, look,
right,
sorry, and then Nibelheim, fuck you guys,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's like to cover up the experiment and all the
yeah,
Hojo shit or whatever.
yeah,
um but yeah, then like when you get there, man, there's such like a heartbreaking moment with Aerith when you sit with her up on the clock on the water
oh,
tower,
oh, that
and
killed
you
me.
just learn about like she's like, man, I wish I had a friend growing up.
Yeah,
Like I didn't have that. I was in captivity, like
hmm,
being experimented on or whatever, like living in a jail cell essentially with her mom.
yeah,
And then until they escaped or whatever. But yeah, that was like, and she just got, and oh, this part, I'm trying not to cry right now thinking about it. She starts getting kind of like a little low and depressed about it, and Cloud's like, uh I think she's like, I just want to just leave me alone up
leave
here
me
for a little
alone.
bit or whatever.
Yeah,
And he's like, are you sure? Like I don't like, she's like, yeah. And I think that's when she says that stuff. And she's
yeah,
like, and that makes me sad, and I don't want to take it out on you. And he's like, are you sure? Like I don't mind. And
yeah,
she's like, yeah, well, I do, because like I don't want to snap at you and then I'll feel worse or whatever. And I'm just like,
yeah,
it's just like, even in that moment of being like so sad, like she still has that
yeah,
empathy and like doesn't want, because she knows Cloud will take it hard if
yeah,
it's just like it kills me. Like her story is so much sadder than you think, until you start really picturing what that would have been like, right? And that's
yeah,
why seeing her go through all this stuff and like dancing at the gold saucer, singing her own song and doing the
yeah,
festival of lights thing at Cosmo Canyon, it's
yeah.
just like so simultaneously heartwarming and heartbreaking.
Yep.
Because
Just what a
yeah,
strong character to go through. So like you hear people with such like a tragic childhood, and yet are really positive people, and
yeah.
then it's just like, man, you
uh,
know, how are you so positive?
have you seen, probably not because you were probably avoiding them until you beat the game, they released these like 4 or 5 like developer deep dives, and it's like
No.
one of them is specifically about like the voice actors for each of the characters, and they
Okay.
each, a lot of like most of them get like a segment to talk about
Hmm.
playing their character. And man, the way Brianna White talks about playing Aerith,
Hmm.
like you can hear her getting emotional just talking
Yeah.
about playing that character. And one quote she said was something that's like, she the way she will like find joy in anything in
Hmm.
life and just hang on to it. And she said something like, Aerith is just a character that will like um like wiggle her way or something, like work her way into your heart and never
Yeah.
leave. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, it's just like she just is so like that level of like that. I don't know. That's the best way of putting it. It's like, yeah, she,
Yeah.
you know, some people like once she latches on to you, like just as a player, it's like she's never gonna not be like you're never
Yeah.
not gonna be thinking about her or whatever. And
Yeah.
just hearing Brianna talk about how much she loves that character is like, it's like why that version of that character is so good, because like she clearly loves
Yeah.
the character she's playing. So yeah. Anyway, I recommend watching at least that one, because there's also a really funny the way they trolled Matt Mercer. I don't know if I had told you about this before, where
No, no, no.
so he auditioned for Vincent and never heard back for like months.
Oh, really?
And then they brought him in and like, okay, so we're just gonna do, you're gonna be guy number 3 in Nibelheim, so we'll play you the Japanese voice and then just give us 2 or 3 to match it or whatever. And like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like shows the screen that they have him looking at, and it starts like glitching out, and the director's like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. 1 second. And then it comes on like a picture of Matt Mercer with like a speech bubble that's like him thinking, and it's like, but what if I could play one of the main characters? And then it like fades to black and it shows Vincent, and like
Oh, wow.
that's how they told him basically that he's playing Vincent.
That's
And
awesome. That's awesome.
they showed a clip of that in this video of seeing him in real time realize that he got
Realizing,
that part.
oh, and
Uh,
like his voice is
Oh my god,
epic.
he's
Uh,
so. And we just
uh,
got a taste. Like he doesn't have a ton of dialogue in this game because he's so
no.
late to the party. But like, I mean, I had obviously full confidence that like that is a voice that he does do. Like I've heard him do that voice for similar types of characters before,
Yeah.
especially in
Yeah.
Critical Role. And it's like, yeah, he was fucking born to play this part.
Oh man. And like, so he's Attack on Titan, he plays Levi, who's
Oh
like the
yeah,
most fucking
yes,
badass character in that entire series.
yep.
And it's the same voice.
Mhm.
He's doing the same voice. And it's so suited for
Yeah,
Japanese anime adjacent,
sure.
yeah, yeah. But anyways,
Anyway, yeah, got sidetracked,
uh
but that video is worth watching, even just to see that clip of him like losing his mind when he was like in shock when they
oh man.
basically, because they all knew how much he wanted to be in this game. Because
Yeah.
it's funny because like his like Final Fantasy VII story is like a lot like mine and yours. Like it's just
Yeah.
like a game he obsessed with. He like cosplayed as Sephiroth, was like his first ever like high
Oh
effort
wow.
cosplay he ever did, and he just loves that game. Even one of the villains in Critical Role, the second campaign, was very Sephiroth esque in terms of like he was like the way Sephiroth is like trying to hurt the planet to absorb its power was like
Yeah.
very close, very similar to how he like wrote a villain, like one of the big bad villains in Critical Role. Is like he said in an interview, like, yeah, it's very inspired by Final Fantasy VII, like this
Oh
villain.
man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but anyway, yeah. So he's we got off topic there, but yeah, Vincent, it's incredible.
one one quick thing I'll mention just while we're off topic for 5 more seconds
Yeah.
is when I had to go to this conference and I was having my separation anxiety with the game.
Yeah.
So for me to get anywhere, I gotta like get to Toronto and then fly. And so this conference was in New Orleans, so I had to go like to Toronto and then like Washington and get down to New Orleans. But so going through Toronto, it was during Toronto Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
And so there's like it's Toronto, it's not San Diego or whatever. So I mean, anyway, they had a few names there that were kind of interesting. But I was as I was going from the train station to the train station that goes to the airport is right in like the main drag of where like the arena is. And so it
Sure.
was just full of cosplay people.
Sure.
So I was like, if I see anyone FF7 related cosplay, I'm getting a picture with them.
Sure.
And like I'm just like it with my conference stuff, whatever. It's like, no, if I see anyone even like half a kilometer away. Like I'm going to get them because I just need some FF7 in my life right now. I didn't see anyone.
Oh, okay.
I wish I did, but I remember being like, wow, how incredible would that be? But
Yeah, to get your
anyway.
fix that way.
Yeah. Anyway, I was hoping I could, but no, I didn't see anyone.
um, we talked about the Vincent boss fight and just how fucking
Yeah.
unexpected and epic that was. The safe code is the same code as the OG when you had to
Oh,
like
oh,
find
is
the
it?
numbers on the wall. I saw the
Yeah,
first two numbers like when you pull those box back,
yeah,
and I was like, it's just one of those numbers I just remember. And so I saw the first two, and I was like, oh, 5797 or whatever, 5997, I think. And I'm just like, let me just try that. And I put it,
yeah.
and it worked. I'm like, yep, it's the
Oh,
same code.
that's great. That's
And then as
awesome.
soon as you're putting it, I was like, well, we're gonna fight that fucking weird dual
Yep.
that bot, like that's what's going to be in here,
Yeah,
guaranteed 100%, and that's what it
yeah,
was. So
yeah.
the which made more sense that it didn't come out of a little like Foot Locker safe. Like it made a lot more sense that it's in this lab,
Yeah.
because that never made a lot of sense in the original game. Just giant boss hiding, and you get Odin in the safe in
Yeah.
OG, so and you get Odin in the Nebel region, which was
Oh, right,
yeah.
right.
Um,
Man, that Odin fight, I didn't know what the hell I was doing for a while
Took me a few
there.
tries to like understand I was just doing it wrong.
I was just like, what the crap am I supposed to do? I was like, I guess I really need to uh debuff him a bunch and like
Yeah,
anyway,
I think
I was doing it wrong.
debuffing or dodging. I think countering doesn't really like trigger whatever
Yeah.
the when he
Yeah, I
gets like
learned that.
excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that you have to just not get hit by
Yeah.
his attacks and
And
debuff him.
it's hard. Dodging because it's kind of
Yeah,
like almost uh, time it right twice.
yeah.
Because he yeah.
Or if
Um
you use a limit break, it like instant pressure. It like instant pressures
sure.
in, but you have to
Yeah.
build that up,
But I
obviously.
was like, I guess I'm gonna poison him and debrave him and hope to God. I mean, it's like Barrett's useless for dodging, and
Yeah.
he's a mainstay of mine. So I was like, okay, Tifa, you figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're quick. But yeah, no, I struggled with Odin for a while, and like I always kind of try at the highest power, and then like,
Same.
okay. And I was like, am I going to the weakest fucking Odin here? Like, Jesus Christ.
What I would
But
do is I would start with the highest one just to see the fight and like get
yeah,
a sense of it. And then every time I would unlock like another like lower
yeah,
I would do it as I get them.
yeah,
And then I think all of them I got on the first debuff, like the first week,
yeah.
like not the weakest, but the one lower than full power. But then when I'd finish the region, I'd go back and you don't get anything even
Nope.
trophy wise, but I would when I've done the region, like okay, let me fight him at full power now, and like yeah, that was
Yeah.
just like my way of finishing off an area.
How good is the music for fighting summon
The
monsters?
summons, oh, it's so,
Oh,
and I think it's new. I don't think it's
it's
a
new.
version of something that's been like remixed or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you hear it a lot when you start doing some of the combat like trophy or the stuff for trophies.
Yeah.
I think, but even just hearing it for all the summon fights, yeah, it's fucking
Oh,
epic.
so good.
It's so
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
so good. When I had to do all the Gilgamesh stuff and fighting two summons at once,
Oh yeah.
uh I like I think not the first one I went to, but maybe like the second one was like Odin and Alexander, and I was just like, quit, nope. Like there's no chance. It's like I don't even think that's possible.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I went
Luckily,
to
they are like I do feel like they're sort of like somewhat less versions of them because like I feel like they didn't have their entire move set. At least the Titan and Phoenix one,
yeah,
because Phoenix didn't like.
or no, it was Phoenix and Kujata.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Titan
and
and
Bahamut, I think.
Bahamut. I
Yeah,
don't feel
yeah.
like Titan did everything he did before. He didn't get like the shield. I don't think. Anyway, I remember like doing the first one. I was like, oh shit, like this will be fun, and then realizing, oh, I'm gonna have to do each pairing. Like I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to do like 4 of these or 3 of these, whatever. I'm like, oh, some of those are gonna be rough.
I remember the Kujata Phoenix one, and it was like, oh, Phoenix is tethered and you can't
Yeah.
damage it. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'll defeat Kujata first. Did that. Start fighting Phoenix, and then it revives Kujata. I was like, you fucker. I was so angry. And then I was like, Phoenix, you're gonna get it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's no longer tethered to it. So just
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
every effing synergy limit. I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
Um,
Um,
have you seen what like the later combat simulator fights are?
the names of them, but not who
Okay.
you have to fight.
Okay.
So,
I won't spoil that because it's pretty fucking
okay,
cool.
okay, cool.
And just what and because you do get now this one I had to look up like material loadouts because some of
Okay,
these are like almost puzzle fights.
okay,
But like you do get a round, like a solo, like a set of fights for Cloud, a set of fights for
yeah,
Tifa.
yes, I saw that.
And
Yeah,
I think there are 5 fights. I
okay,
There's one that's 10. I don't think it's those. I think it's 5. But they're hard. And I
oh
had to
yeah,
look up loadouts because some of them I just like because so in your hard mode playthrough,
yeah,
make sure you're leveling whatever elementals you have, like
yeah,
elemental materia, warding materia,
okay,
um, barrier materia. You want to have those maxed out too. You want to have
yeah.
mana ward for sure. And obviously like chakra and prayer.
Oh yeah, man. Prayer has free rent in in my
Yeah.
loadouts all the time.
And any of the like ATB boost or like not the one
Yeah.
that's the act like where you push it,
No,
although
no.
that one's good
ATB
too.
ATB stagger ability,
And the ones
ATB.
that yeah like give you ATB for using commands like or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
yeah, those are important for the some of those later challenges. Um. Anyway, yeah. So those double summon fights, I had a note with that later, but yeah, that those were just those were intense and really fun to do.
I was
Um.
super pumped. At the very least, with the Odin Alexander one, it's like Odin vanishes for a while. It's like, oh, thank
Hmm.
Christ.
And
Okay, now,
that's what I mean. Like
yeah,
they're not both absolutely full power the whole time.
yeah, yeah.
Because I don't think that would be possible. Um, and then I have a note about sliding in the pipes in the Nebo reactor. That was just like a fun like nod to the original because it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
multiple levels or whatever.
yeah.
I like that. Um, when you do you get it's like a Tifa side quest where you get the that's where you get the Aerith theme for the piano.
Yep.
It's like she
Yep.
gets and she because you're playing with like a bunch of people with instruments or whatever.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
And it's like one of the most beautiful versions of her theme when it
Oh,
really like picks up like partway through. And it
yeah,
was
yeah,
like I was like I was like first try all like so far perfect, like I was gonna get it perfect first try, and
yeah.
like when like all the string instruments came in, I just started crying and I
I
couldn't
know,
play.
yeah.
I was like I was failing
I
the
can't
note,
see.
and that was one of the points where I was just like, fuck you, game,
Yeah.
like in a crying voice, like oh fuck you, game. So I was already losing it.
Yeah.
I shouted that
Like
at my
it's almost
TV.
double layered of just like fuck you for making me so emotional and like no like logistically you're fucking up my game.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I like
Yeah.
literally like shouted that at my TV. It was like, "Oh, fuck you, game!"
Yeah. No, that got me too because
Yeah,
playing kind of Tifa's theme, which is like the first one that you get, like that kind of crippled me. And then I was like, oh, this is just Aerith's theme. They'll probably be okay. Oh, nope, here come the waterworks.
yeah, yeah. That was
Oh man.
funny. Um, so yeah, then when you go to the Gold Saucer revisit, and you get goddamn like a 45-minute play that you get to watch basically, and they do
That,
like the honeybee, this is like the honeybee in
yeah,
thing where they like took that weird little silly little sequence and like gave it such a glow up. Same thing here, like this epic fucking music, like The like fights with like Red 13 and Barrett. And I'm pretty
Oh,
sure like the name like was like Valadia or something.
yeah. I feel like that's the same from
Yeah,
yeah,
I recognized it when I heard it. Like, oh, that's definitely the same name.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
and
and
apparently, I don't know what triggers it, but it's like the person you get the date with isn't necessarily the person who shows up in that play with you.
okay,
I think it's like I don't remember how it works, but I feel like I see a version of that. Oh no, maybe I don't remember what I'm basing that off of. I could be wrong, but so I had Aerith for that obviously,
yeah,
um, and
and yeah, in terms of like your
like
play
in the play,
companion,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that whole sequence is just so fucking cool. Like,
I mean,
god damn it.
did you see the picture that I sent you of like that the screen cap of Cloud
Yeah,
with like, oh, I was just like,
I
oh,
have one too. I
I'm
have
really
one too.
proud of
Like,
that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
have one like that too. When it's the both of them, at the very end or whatever.
And Tifa's outfit was just like so perfect. I was so like, God damn this
So
fucking
it
game.
is the same outfit for all of them.
Yeah,
Like that princess outfit or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It is
I
it.
saw in your pictures Aerith kind of in a similar
Yeah,
outfit. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But that killed me. I was crying throughout that whole thing.
yeah.
That was so
Well,
like
and
again,
then
those like I'm just so happy. Like this is
yeah,
just everything I've ever wanted. Yeah,
yeah. I had
yeah,
such a big smile on my face during that whole sequence, and like the little dance number at the beginning where you see like the sort of like AI generated Jesse, because like they even
yeah,
say like they're recreating her because in
yeah.
her image or whatever, and that was kind of sad.
Oh
Um,
man, sidebar. There are several times I can think of two at least where Barrett, like just tough guy, putting on his sunglasses to like disguise that
yeah,
he's like crying kind of thing.
yeah,
That killed me.
yeah.
And he does it like oh okay, hold on. Um at the gold saucer, like when they all see Jesse up there, Tifa kind of starts to lose it.
Yeah,
And Barrett does, but he kind of doesn't want to show it kind of
yeah.
thing. Oh man. Because Jesse got to me in remake too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
so yeah.
She stole
So
my heart in that game for sure.
yeah.
Um,
But
Speaking of her, there's a moment in I think it's Gongaga when I think you're talking to Cisne with her side quest about cooking,
which is
and
hilarious. Uh
and it's like you're talking about what ingredients you want, and Cloud says, I forget what it's the ingredients Jesse was talking about for her pizza.
okay.
That she was gonna make you if you came to see her the next night or whatever.
Oh,
It was like
okay. Yeah, yeah.
red jelly something. It's like a rhyming sort of phrase, but it's like a
Okay.
couple. And I don't know. It was Barrett. You're talking to Barrett about it, and he's like he will ask him about something about ingredients, and you say that as an option, and he's like, "What the hell? That's for a love potion. What the hell are you talking about?"
Oh, no way.
That's what Jesse was like gonna try to put in your pizza. I thought that was, I only
That's
noticed it my second playthrough.
That's an
Um,
amazing callback. Oh,
so
Jesse
funny.
was, oh
She was
God.
really trying to get you.
Somebody, maybe it was Brianna White, like a thirsty Jesse. Is what it's called.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, so
Thirsty.
that was a fun little callback I noticed.
That's
Um,
really funny. I love that.
yeah.
Um, that
But
that's what
then
makes Jesse more adorable.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
But then so yeah, back to the play, you get that fucking song number with Aerith. I mean, a blubbering mess.
yeah,
I was like, that was the point where I'm not okay.
yeah,
because like, at this point, I'm still convinced that, she dies. Like I'm still
yeah,
convinced at this point in the game that she's gonna die.
yeah,
And again, like that moment where you just like remember, because this is shortly after you get that reminder that like she had such a sheltered childhood, and
yeah.
it's like seeing her just, I'm gonna
Put
cry.
herself out there. Yeah,
Yeah, and just like
yeah,
she wrote this song herself, and then they ask her if she wants to sing it herself, and she does, and she's all dressed up and everything, and just like seeing her. experience the world. And it's like, I'm to my head canon is like she knows she's gonna die. Like she knows this already. And so it's like she's just living life as much as she can before that happens. And yeah, I was an absolute fucking mess during that song.
Especially like little flower girl from the slums now performing at the Gold Saucer.
Yeah,
like
look what she's was able to do for herself or whatever. And yeah. That fucking broke me. Like absolutely wrecked me. And then, oh god, that was brutal.
There's I remember even just like leading up to that when she's like writing the song and Kate Sith is kind of around her or whatever. And I don't know if that's specific to my Tifa date.
Nope, it happens either way.
And I was just like, oh man, like that was just like so precious kind of thing. And what was the other part? Oh yeah, what was the name on the loudspeaker? It was a play on words of like flowers or something.
Oh my god, what was it?
I thought that was really cute.
Make them bloom, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And she was like, oh, anyway, that was cute.
Yeah.
But oh man, there's a part where like Tifa is just like, you got this or whatever, like
sure,
kind of backstage encouragement kind of thing. Like,
so I only saw that when I replayed it for the Tifa date because that only happens if she's with you during the play.
Okay,
I think, you know what? I don't remember. She might have just been there in her normal clothes if she wasn't because she wasn't in the play with me.
Okay.
So I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I've seen that part at least when I did her date.
And I was like, oh, anyway, their dynamic is so perfect as well. Like, anyway, that killed me. And then her song was great. Yeah.
And then you get the date right after, and that fucking ruined me too.
Oh god.
The music that plays in that, I kind of forgot about that track.
So I think I texted you that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I was just like, I remembered the date, but I forgot it has its own
like music.
And it only happens then. And it's just so perfect. That was that music alone. Because I was just like, when the date is coming, I'm just like, okay, you'll be fine, Matt. You can get through this. And then I forgot about the music. And I was like, crap, nope. It made it through. The wall that I built forgot about the music, and now I'm a wreck.
Your wall was about as sturdy as that Queen's Blood player.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that absolutely just obliterated me. And it was exactly what I wanted. Like I was looking forward to that date sequence since the beginning of Remake when I kind of fell back in love with these characters and there's a new version of them, and it was just like, that date is gonna be. I was worried that I would like expect too much of it and it wouldn't live up, but it was perfect. Like,
unbelievable.
Hey everyone, so this is the end. Like I mentioned before, this is a multi-parter. We're done talking about our general impressions. So next one we're gonna do is gonna be super spoiler heavy. We have a lot to talk about the ending and all the juicy details in that part. It's like another 2 hours, so we have a lot more to say. So make sure you check out the other part if you haven't, and save this next one for last, because we'll be diving into all the juicy bits.
Lots of stuff to talk about. So thanks for making it through 2 parts. There's still lots more to come. So have fun.
Great. Thanks, everyone.